A year past June, I decided one morning to go out jogging, and as I was approaching the park, it was early in the morning, there was a boy behind me, and I knew he was behind me. It didn't make me feel uncomfortable or anything like that. I was quite happy. Anyway, as I started running, somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and I actually turned around thinking it was a friend of mine, and it was this boy, and he started repeatedly hitting me, thumping me in the head until I lost consciousness and he left me for dead. I don't remember anything else from that until I managed to walk to a house about half an hour later, and I told them that I'd fallen over because I couldn't remember what had happened. It was only about half an hour later that I realised I'd been attacked, and when they saw it on CCTV, they saw this young boy actually coming to attack me. I had 28 stitches in my head. I was just battered and bruised. My jaw was out of line. I was in a real mess. The recovery was... I thought at first that it was only going to be the physical recovery that I needed, but I realised after a few weeks that the actual physical side of it was easy to recover from compared to the actual mental side of it. I'd never suffered at all with any mental health issues. I'd suddenly lost my confidence. I couldn't go out on my own. I couldn't even go to the front door. Couldn't get the milk off the doorstep, go to the bin. Couldn't do anything at all. I run my own business, and I just struggled to do anything. I also have 3 children, and my youngest one, who's 17, she also became like a shell. She was frightened of going to college, doing anything like that. It just took a long time for us to recover from it. When I first met the police when they were interviewing me, fortunately within 24 hours of me being attacked, the boy that attacked me actually handed himself in. So that was a huge, benefit. It was a lot better. And the inspector that was dealing with me actually said, we do encourage restorative justice. And I thought, yeah, it's just something I want to do, because I never actually felt hatred for this boy. And I don't feel as if you can ever get on anywhere in life unless you actually forgive. And, I thought it would actually be the way I could move on. So, from day one, that's what I planned on doing. And I must admit, I did panic about it, and my husband didn't want me to do it, and quite a lot of family members didn't want me to do it because they didn't want me to be hurt. But it's something I really wanted to do. So I was given a victim liaison officer who was explained to me where the prisoner was, and he also encouraged me to do the restorative justice, and he put me in touch with Grace, and then we worked from there. So for several months I met up with Grace, and we went through the procedure of what was going to happen when eventually I went to the prison to meet the boy, as I refer to him. And I must admit that over the few months was quite a difficult process, because although Grace was just following guidelines, sometimes I kept thinking, is it really worth it? Am I really going to put myself through this? Because sometimes I felt that I was being the one that was being questioned for what I was doing, when ultimately I'd done nothing wrong. But obviously, the more you look back at it, you realise that it's just what has to be done to make sure everything's okay. And then when we got to prison, I was very apprehensive, and even right to the last minute I was panicking that the boy was going to cancel, because then to me he got the power to be over me still, and I didn't want that. All the time when we'd been going to court, the court was adjourned 3 times, and each time it was adjourned, that obviously affected me, and I felt that he had the upper hand all the time. So part of this restorative justice, I needed him not to be in charge. And so when we went into the room, I made sure that I sat down so that he would have to come to me rather than, I didn't want him to go past me. I certainly didn't want him to be behind me at any stage. And when he came in and sat down, he was just like a normal young boy. You know, he wasn't frightening. The first thing he said was, "I'm sorry." And that really did mean a lot. And I really genuinely think he meant it. And it definitely has helped me. I know that I will be able to move on from this, and I hope that he will be able to move on. I needed to know from him that he wasn't going to maybe come back to my territory, as I would call it. I didn't want any problems around my family. Anyway, he assured me that he wasn't planning on coming back. He didn't want to be anywhere where people knew what he'd done. He's terribly ashamed. And it completely gave me closure. I felt as if I'd got to the very end of a horrible book. And now I feel as if I can just shut the pages now and it's done.